Okay, thank you so much. My name is Anne Pakoa from PYWLA, Vanuatu, and I'm representing the Vanuatu Human Rights Coalition.
Thank you, Anne.
Hi everyone, my name is Elodie Nimis. I'm from Vanuatu and I am the president of the Vanuatu Young Women for Change.
Lovely to have you both here, Elodie and Anne. So basically my first question is, why do you want to attend the Pacific Feminist Forum? Maybe Elodie first?
Okay, thank you. My answer is I like to attend the Pacific Feminist Forum because it's my first time and I want to learn what the participants are presenting so I can get back to Vanuatu and present to my members.
So taking that knowledge back.
Yes, they're taking back that knowledge back to Vanuatu. Thank you.
I think it's an exciting moment where you come in and you meet other human rights defenders, especially those that are defending rights for women and LGBTs and all other vulnerable groups, in particular disability. So my expectation is to meet those activists here and be able to take back some of those successful stories home to share with our colleague back in Vanuatu.
So you were just saying you're looking forward to taking some of the successful stories back to Vanuatu. Any particular stories in particular around the work that you're doing back home in Vanuatu?
Back in Vanuatu, like the small organization that I'm looking at, we deal with young girls issue about education problems and sexual. Yes, and sometimes some girls facing a pregnancy, like they left out in school and they don't manage to manage themselves. So now I just came here to hear what the participants are presenting so I can take that knowledge back to Vanuatu and present to my members. Thank you.
And for you, what was the challenge of just basically getting here to Fiji to participate?
The challenge I guess is more getting through having to delegate responsibilities to those back home and having them to agree and allow me to get here. I think it's worth it coming here for 3 days, but the challenge of just making sure that those responsibilities are delegated on the ground before I catch a plane and come here it was quite a challenge.
Thank you. And so we've only just had the opening session and the opening plenary this morning, but what stood out for you from that session where you had a lot of different activists from different ages and experiences talking? What stood out for you first, Anne, and then Anne?
Okay. I think what stood out for me was the fact that our Tongan LGBT member, what really came out was that she, despite all those challenges, that one day she just clicked. She said, I am going to take my stand today. I am going to wear this dress and I'm going to walk down that aisle. Doesn't matter who says what. I will just, this is my dignity. And I really appreciate that courage that she had back then when she was 14. And I think that made her a very strong person until today a lot of women and other LGBT activists can learn from her.
Thank you. Elodie, as the president of the Vanuatu Young Women for Change, what stood out for you this morning?
It's the young feminists. Yes, the young feminists are talking about the problems they're facing and how they deal with the problems. I think what I hear from that young feminist today, this morning, it's very interesting and it's building up my capacity for what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So is that something that you'd like to discuss for the next couple of days in terms of the young women's perspective?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think apart from our Lafafine member apart from our member from Tonga, there's so many other interesting stories. That walk of feminism that Madame spoke about, the walk of feminism as from 1970s, to here. I think these are our champions, and we really need to learn from them. And I think that legend will continue to grow from the 70s, as she said, until today. It is our responsibility to also make sure that the legend grows through the voices and representation of our young girls. And
Thank you. Okay, so now I'd just like to move around to looking back home and the issues that you're working on at home. And do you see this being discussed in the public media? Is it discussed in a way that you think is valuable, or is it just pushed aside?
Coming from a very male-dominated society, as we all know, in the region, I've started seeing changes in the last 3 years, 2 or 3 years, where leaders are beginning to understand the role of women in our societies. And like I said, it's still a big challenge for us back home to be able to get our leaders to understand where do LGBTs come in. Now we're fighting for people living with disability, let alone LGBT members. And I'm grateful that One Small Back Theatre, through an organization that they established a few years back, if I understand, it's called V-Pride. And I'm glad that that organization, through One Small Back, is generating and amplifying their voices out to the public. As I speak, there's a big gap of knowledge and understanding from our community leaders, but also to the general public. So I believe that we have a lot of work to do to be able to get our leaders in the government, especially, to understand where do this group of people fit in our society.
Thank you. Elodie, working with young women in Vanuatu, when you open a newspaper, when you listen to the radio, do you hear the issues that the young women are talked about in the newspaper?
Yes, when I read the newspaper sometimes, I found that young women, they're talking about their problems they face at home, and they don't have time to manage themselves, and they look forward to find friends to set their problems with. I think that's something.
Okay, thank you. So we're starting the 16 Days of Activism campaign for another year, and the theme, as always, is from peace in the home to peace in the world. What does peace mean to you as women from Vanuatu?
Okay, peace means to me that peace is something that when you have peace in your home, and your children will be safe, and anything you do in your community where there is peace, and all of your community leaders or community members will be safe. Thank you.
To me, peace is actually giving the accessibility and the ableness to everyone, including women and children, those living with disability, the accessibilities of life, such as good water, good education, good quality and good accessible education for all, also good roads, infrastructure, and good marketing outlets where rural women can come in and sell their produces to be able to make some income for their families. And to me, I believe that if a household has those basic necessities in life, including basic healthcare facilities, family planning, or contraceptives, I think someone can live a comfortable life just having those basic necessities of life.
And when it comes to young women's participation in whatever space that they're in, what is needed to enable young women to be able to stand up and have a voice and take part in decisions that affect them, whether it is access to health services or good roads or having that social support with friends and family? What's needed in Vanuatu?
The young women in Vanuatu, they access clinic. When they need something, they go to clinic and they find help in clinic.
And is it easy for them to be able to go to the clinic?
Yes, it's easy for them to go to clinic.
What's making it easy for them? Can they afford to go to the clinic?
Yes, they afford to go to the clinic, so they get access to the clinic close nearby the village.
So having that physical space to be able to go.
Yes.
Thank you, Elodie. For you, Anne?
For me, I think I'm not in that category anymore, but I've seen my daughters grow up and my nieces and young girls in the communities. Accessibility is okay in urban areas, but it's a challenge in the rural areas where young girls have to walk very far. A lot of them have to cross mountains and cross rivers, and they can walk for the whole day, even a day and a half, to be able to reach a healthcare facility. And to me, that is something that we've deprived of them of their rights to access basic healthcare. Basic contraceptives, but I think the Global Fund is working on that through some civil society groupings. And I believe that if we continue to ensure that these basic services are provided to young girls, such as a free education that is of quality to young girls, that is still a big challenge. And I find that our government should be held accountable, our community leaders should be held accountable, and everybody's business to make sure that young girls should continue learning. And I believe that young mothers like Elodie here should always be given the opportunity to access a good quality education, and not just basic health care, but also something also that would be good is be able to build the knowledge and capacity of young girls as to know their rights and be able to report to the police when there is violence and what is violence, and they should be able to recognize when a situation becomes violent and that they should seek legal advice and be able to access justice.